What the fuck? It's the season 21 finale and After the Rose week 10 on The Bachelorette, and you are watching Reader Seeks Romance Channel's Romance Recap. We're dissecting and discussing Jenn Tran's fucked up rose petal journey to finding ferocious love. It's shot o'clock, but I am not in the mood to get the party started. I am Liz Donatelli.
And I'm Tiffany Current.
Be sure to subscribe to Reader Seeks Romance Channel so that you don't miss weekly episodes of Romance Recap only on YouTube. Stay tuned for our Golden Bachelorette recaps. Well, I'm not sure how to handle this episode. Do we do a detailed dissection of the whole episode, or do we just quickly update people and talk mostly about the ending?
I think we should start a little bit at the ending and then kind of dive in. But let me just start off by saying that I am disgusted by this episode. This episode made me hate the producers so much. They did Jenn so dirty to the point where I was like, I don't think I can watch another Bachelorette. I know we're supposed to do the Golden Bachelorette, but I was like, I was so put off by this that I was like, I don't think I can watch the show again. It was awful. It was awful.
It was painful, even though it was the most on the edge of my seat I've ever been watching any reality show finale. I was truly devastated for Jenn. I got very choked up. I felt her pain looking at the reactions of people in the audience, including Rachel Recchia from the double Bachelorette season that we covered.
Yep.
She was starting to
she felt the pain. Yep.
Everyone was affected. I have never, honestly, I kept saying to myself, cut away from her. She was crying so deeply. It was like such a wound. Like she's showing.
It was awful.
And
it was awful.
I'm sure we'll talk more about this, but when Jesse asked, he basically said, we're going to now air a very painful moment in your season. Is it okay? And she was crying like, do I have a choice?
Do I have a choice? It was disgusting. Just a spoiler alert for anyone who hasn't seen it yet. She proposed to Devin. They were allegedly happy. And then he basically broke up with her and ghosted her. That's what happened in the end. We're going to get into it. Terrible, terrible situation. I hate this show.
It's some fucking bullshit, this fucking show.
Let's talk about the episode. It starts out, we see Devin. He's coming to meet her family. She's excited. He's excited. The family kind of likes him. I really enjoy the mom. I really enjoyed the brother. The brother was no joke. He was asking those tough questions, and I appreciated it. And now I know why.
Yes, now I know why. James, Jenn's brother, is the hero of this episode.
All I want for Jenn is for her to be happy. She's very special to me. I'm the protective brother, and I want what's best for her.
Absolutely.
Well, how do you know that she's the person? This time next week, you might be engaged.
Yes.
How do you feel about that?
Does worry me that there is still another guy involved. I didn't even know how she felt about me up until a few days ago, and that was the biggest thing.
So at that point, do you feel like she was not vulnerable with you yet?
It's not that I don't think she was vulnerable. I think she was playing it safe. I would really love to have your blessing if we get to that point, Jenn and I, to propose to her and make her happy for the rest of her life.
Definitely not going to give the blessing now. It's because I haven't talked to the second guy yet. I know growing up, Devin's dad wasn't in the picture. Do you feel like that's bonded you guys together?
Yeah, a huge part of it was our family dynamic.
I feel like he should be on every episode. He should replace Jesse.
He should replace Jesse.
Because this guy's asking real questions. And, every question that's asked by Jenn's mom and Jenn's brother is, why do you love Jenn?
Yes.
And Devin has a really great answer for every question.
It seemed genuine. He's just like,
totally genuine.
She deserves a man to pick her. I love her. How would you feel if she doesn't pick you? I would be devastated. Says all the right things. He even asked the brother for his blessing, and to the brother's credit, he said, I haven't met the other guy yet, so I can't give it to you.
Yes, he was fair. Devin seems anxious whenever he perceives an obstacle. So
is
you
correct.
see him talking to the camera, and even though we respected how the mother and brother dealt with the situation of meeting Devin very cautiously, Devin talking to the camera, he's like, I'm feeling, concerned with the way they reacted.
Yeah.
Like, he just can't wait to win Jen's hand and move on with his life. And any perceived obstacle, you could tell, frustrates him. One of the other
Yes.
obstacles was Jenn not saying, I love you, that he had to wait for it, that he was like kind of dragging it out of her. Do you love me? Do you love me? And so he has met every obstacle with this headstrong, I'm going to win this woman. And he's just a narcissistic, pathological liar.
He's a joke. He's slime, which goes to show in the beginning, I don't think we ever I never trusted him. I don't think we ever trusted him, but then he won me over slightly because he was the only one saying I love you. Goes to show, ladies, trust your gut. Trust your gut, because the very first instinct is usually the right one. He's slime.
Yeah.
But that was basically it. It was actually a good
it was
family
really good.
visit. So next up we have Marcus and Jenn. Marcus comes over. Typical thing, very kind to Marcus. He shares his background about his life story. And he seemed very nervous the entire time talking to her family. He seemed very nervous. And they were asking all those tough questions, which he probably knew he had an answer, which was, are you in love with her? Same response. I'm trying to get there. That's his typical response. I'm trying to
get there. Yeah. And that raised alarm bells for James, because when he sat down with Jenn, and again, he wasn't judgy or blamey. He was like, this is what it is. This guy is not there yet. He's not feeling that he's in love. And basically, Jenn, what I'm seeing is that, you're potentially repeating the cycle, this past trauma by falling for an emotionally unavailable person. So he basically said what I said, in the last recap, that it seems like she's just falling for the same type of guy. And, she's, appreciated James's, insight and was like, I don't want to repeat history.
Your history with people who are emotionally unavailable, how long are you willing to wait?
My brother's right. I don't want to repeat history.
He really took it to heart, because at that point she basically goes to visit him. But I want to say, before she goes to see him, we cut to Jesse, who really pissed me off this episode. I did not like him. I used a lot of profanity when he came on screen. But Jesse talks to Marcus and he's just like, you need to tell her you're in love with her or you're gonna lose her. And I'm like, why are these people pressuring these men to say I love you if they're not ready? Because then it's not real.
Right.
Let it go. Maybe he doesn't love her. It's okay.
Yeah. I have to be honest. I fast forwarded through that conversation. So I did not know, because I feel like, you're beating a dead horse now with Marcus. Like, leave the guy alone.
I know.
So when
that's
Jesse
why I felt it's a bullying. They're bullying him to be in love with her.
So that's what he said. So Jesse was encouraging Marcus to tell Jenn that he loves her. Okay. But what did he say? Did he say he still doesn't love her?
He said, no, he's just like the typical, I'm trying to get there. And Jesse said, tell her or you're going to lose her. And that's when we see Jenn go to Marcus's room and she sits down and she's like, what's going on?
I wanted to come and talk to you and see you. And, there's an engagement tomorrow. I don't know what that means to you. I don't know where your head is at. And I think you keep saying that you're hopeful for it and that you want to get there with your feelings, but it's running out of time.
He says the same spiel of I'm trying to get there. Then he finally says, because she's nervous, she's like, you're not talking about the future with us. What's going to happen? I don't want to do these same patterns. And he finally says, I love you.
I know that I love you. I want to be the type of person that fights for it. I want to do this with you. I want to give it a try. No, I don't want to give up on us.
I just need a second.
I paused the TV. I'm like, did he just say I love you?
Yes. And then they showed the audience and people were like, oh, like he's alive. First of all, he said it so nonchalantly as if he'd said it a million times before. So now I'm like, I don't know what's going on. And she didn't seem super surprised. She just seemed kind of over it.
I know. She because she's tired of bullying him. Either way, at that point she was done.
Done waiting around for somebody to get there.
And she more or less calls it off. And he said, and this is when I actually felt bad for him. He said, I'm so afraid that I won't find someone
Yeah.
like you again, which is true because she's amazing and you
Yeah.
won't. But he's not there, and I have no ill will toward him. And they basically say their goodbyes.
Yeah.
And that's the end of Marcus. She's ready to focus on Devin. And basically she sits down with Jesse and she wants to be the first person ever to be the woman to propose to the man. That's the big news.
That's
She will be
right.
the first to propose to the man. And she's super excited. And she's like, yeah, I'm going to do it. And that's when we cut to Jenn.
I'd like to just say that I did predict last week that
You
that
did.
would be the big surprise because
You
I said
did.
this has to be what it is.
You were correct.
And I'd like to mention that before the proposal, I believe we see Jenn getting ready. And it is the most hilarious Maybelline product placement segment that you see her wake up in the morning and there's a close-up shot of just the makeup. And then you
That's
see
so
her
funny.
applying makeup.
Yeah.
And then she stops and just is holding in such
It's
a
cute.
weird way because obviously she's being told to show it to the camera. So I thought that was hilarious.
It's a sponsor. It's a
Yeah.
sponsor. You got to get the sponsorships in.
It just
It's
seems
ridiculous.
so out of place. It wasn't that, smooth. So anyway.
That was out of place, just like Neil the Diamond Guy. Come on, guys.
Okay. I didn't realize that was the name of the diamond. It's Neil Diamonds. Is that the name of the business?
I think it's Neil. His name is Neil, and that's his business. He's a very famous, I don't know, diamondeer. I don't know what the word is. And
diamond monger? I have
maybe in Hollywood. Either way, they
Yeah.
kept showing him that was that. Let's get to the goods.
Oh God, yeah.
We were getting ready, and I think I'm getting ready to see the proposal. We don't get to see the proposal.
No.
We cut to the studio, and Jesse basically says we're not going to show the proposal because Jenn has something to say, and that's when Jenn just starts crying, and I was like, oh no. And she was crying for like, it felt like a couple minutes of just heavy sobbing, tears, sniffling. Took Jesse way too long to give her a tissue. Way too long to hand her a tissue.
It did. It took her,
Ridiculous. I was like, Jesse, just give the girl a tissue.
Yeah. So this was live, right? I just realized this is live. That's why they could have cut to commercial early, couldn't they?
They could have cut to commercial. They could have cut to the Neil the Diamond Guy again, anything. She's finally able to chat and we hear her story.
She tells Jesse, as soon as we had left Hawaii, things were just different. It kind of just felt like he was pulling away all the promises that he had made to me, wanting to move somewhere together and wanting to have this future planned out and wanting to see each other all the time. Jenn explained that she stopped receiving calls and texts from Devin and grew confused. Then one night she got a call from Devin. He called me and he basically broke off the engagement. He said he didn't love me anymore. Now, this is the part that really stuck with me.
Yeah.
He didn't love me anymore, feel the same way, and felt like something had been off since the second he proposed, he regretting getting engaged. So she proposed to him. And then Devin got down on his knee and proposed to her. So it was kind of a mutual proposal.
During this part, Jesse kept asking her questions. And I was like, I wrote down Jesse's being a dick with his questions. She's very emotional. She's very upset. We bring out Devin.
Yeah.
This man, I know he's required to be here, but he comes out and like the way he's even treating her then, it was just so like he was gaslighting her.
Oh. He was 1,000% gaslighting her.
He's like, I told you I had doubts. She's like, when? He's like, well, I took a little bit of time to share my doubts. I'm like, this guy is just trying to gaslight this poor girl.
I was really glad that Jenn did not go easy on him.
She did not. Good.
She told Jesse and then she told Devin, she's like, I said, I could understand if maybe engagement is a lot, that we don't have to be engaged. We could just date more and spend more time together. And that just didn't seem, I guess Devin was just like all or nothing. Either we're engaged and dating or nothing. The thrill of the chase was over. He was in it just to win it for whatever narcissistic, egotistical reasons. And the minute they got engaged and they had to return to the real life, which ironically is all he said he wanted to do with her, is get to the real life.
The little things. He wanted the little things.
And he couldn't handle it. So it seems as if he might be repeating possibly cycles that he observed in his childhood with his parents.
That's way too much credit. He's a
Oh, yeah.
douchebag.
Here he is, the biggest douche of the universe.
He just wanted to win. He just
Yeah.
literally wanted to win, and he won, and then he was done.
And
I mean,
yeah.
and she called him on it because it goes to say after he eventually spoke to her, briefly in
Yeah.
that 15-minute call, the next day she said he went on Instagram and he followed Maria. The next day after he broke things off, he was out
Yeah.
in New York with Jeremy, which was very funny how they cut
Yeah.
to Jeremy. Jeremy was like, "Oops, I'm caught."
Yeah, yeah.
She was calling him out on all this stuff, and what I thought was so funny, Devin had the audacity to say, like, well, I didn't realize we'd be talking about this. And she's like, I tried to talk to you before, but you wouldn't take my calls. Maybe if
Right.
you had talked to her, she's like, I didn't want to have to do this on camera. We explicitly said not to do this on camera,
Yeah.
but you refused to talk to me off camera.
Yeah.
So this is my only place. Like,
Yeah.
this kid,
Yeah.
like, Devin is ridiculous.
You know, such a gaslighter. And also he so incredibly manipulative because he
Yes.
says to her, you know, he made it sound like me breaking up was for you because
I'm doing
you
a
were
good thing for
diminishing
you.
yourself to
Yes.
be in this relationship with me. So I don't know what happened after the show that they were together for 2 months. She must have made compromises to accommodate their relationship because I guess maybe he was unyielding on certain things. And he's like, you were diminishing yourself to be with me. And I just couldn't see that. I just couldn't let you do that. And you know, and she
It
was
was
just like
ridiculous.
looking at him like, you could go fuck off.
She's
bud."
like, I know you. She's like, I know this pattern.
Yeah.
I know this type of guy.
Yeah.
And like, he deserves nothing. I hope they put him on nothing. I hope people unfollow him. He is not a good person.
Yeah.
It's like, if it was the thrill of the game, which is the douchebag thing to do, just break up with her right afterwards. Don't
Right
drag
after.
it out for months.
Yes.
When she's begging you to go to therapy to just date, don't drag it out. Just break up with her and say,
Yeah.
like, I'm so sorry. Like, truth of the matter, I just wanted to win,
Yeah.
and be like a dick because he's a dick. So just
Yeah.
own it and move on with your life. Don't try to put it on her. Like, oh, I'm just doing you a favor. It's like, no, you're doing yourself a favor. Don't lie about it. Don't lie about it.
He wasn't gracious at all about any of it. Like he just kept making it sound like putting his head down and muttering to himself as if she's talking out of her hat.
Yeah,
And
like, why is she
she's
talking about this?
misrepresenting him. And do you think that's why Jonathan, Dylan, and Jeremy were there? Because they said they were there for support. Did they know? They must have known what had happened, and they were there to support.
They must have known. Well, obviously Jeremy knew. He was clubbing with
Well,
Devin.
yeah,
I
that's
don't know about Jonathan. I'm not sure where they were there, but at that point, that's when Jesse has the audacity to say in a soft voice, I think it's time for us to watch the engagement. And that's when Jenn said, do I have a choice? Because right when he said that, I was like,
Yeah.
no, you had promised us.
Yeah.
That's when I was disgusted. I would have
Yeah.
allowed all this to happen. But when he said, we're going to go to the tape, and they went to the tape and they kept cutting back and forth
Yeah.
from her getting ready to her bawling
Yeah.
on the couch. And I was like, you could have shown the engagement before she came out the first time so that it was done.
Done
But you
and over with.
waited until they
Yes.
were sitting together so she could watch it. And that's when I was like, not okay, guys. Not okay. That was
Yeah.
uncalled for.
The decision to do that was in poor taste, and actually
Yes.
the show is getting slammed
They
online right
should.
now
Yeah, they should.
because of
It was
it.
disgusting. It was
It didn't make
disgusting.
sense. I wonder, so did they show the proposal before or after Jesse delivered this seemingly heartfelt speech to Jenn about how, you know, things didn't work out. I'm truly, truly sorry for me in the show, we on behalf of everyone, we're truly sorry. And we know that you will find, you know, you haven't found the person yet, but you know, you will.
Yeah.
And then says about your incredible strength, which is, you know, very true. But I almost felt like Jenn, you could almost see Jenn thinking, yeah, whatever, guy.
Whatever, dude.
Whatever, that doesn't help me.
That was after the clip.
That
I
was
feel like
after
it
the
was
clip?
after the clip. All I know was I only actually watched the clip for like, I don't know, 15 seconds because it was way too much for me to watch, to have her getting ready in her wedding dress and seeing her cut back to her in the audience bawling in tears.
She was bawling the whole time.
Devin had, at least he had the, you know, he was able to look like he felt really bad, which he should, because he was
Yeah.
looking at her and not saying anything and thinking like, you should, bro, you should, because she felt for you. Even though this was a game to you, she has feelings. And I watched it go back and forth like maybe twice, and I'm like, forget this, dude. And I fast forwarded through the whole thing because I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna watch this. I'm not gonna watch her bawling, watching this in person with him next to her. They could have done this before, so it was done. It was gross.
Yeah.
It was gross.
It was gross. It was deeply, deeply unsettling.
Unsettling.
It still stayed with me this morning. I was still
Yes.
thinking about it. I was so angry for her.
Yes.
And I was angry for all of us who watched it because I was angry personally. I felt like I was made a fool of because
Yes.
I actually did believe wholeheartedly everything he said to her. And the promises he made, although I'm sure there were promises made off camera as well, but like I figured, oh, he's a bit of a goof and he could be competitive, but he really has Jen's best interest at heart. I felt so lied to. I was so mad.
That was the editing. That was the cut they did of him. He was a real jerk. They probably, and we saw that in the beginning when he was doing some jerky things. One of my issue too is after they showed this ridiculous engagement.
Yeah.
Then Jesse had the audacity to say like, but you know what? I'm so proud of you being the first person ever to propose.
Yeah.
And I was like, really, Jesse? You're congratulating her for proposing? I was done. I was done. I know that Jesse is required to say these things, that somebody wrote this script, but put your foot down, bro. Like, you should put your foot down for this stuff. That was so wrong.
I felt like it was too much. He was overcompensating
too much
by with all the sweet talk, and when he said I was proud of you, I thought he was going to say I'm so proud that you were the first Asian American. Like I was like, oh, are you gonna like where are we going?
I was thinking, don't do that either. Yeah.
And I felt like every time he said something overly nice, it was like, don't sue us. Don't sue us. I feel like that's what he was concerned about. He's like, oh, it didn't work out, but you're so strong and you've made a lot of firsts. And I was like, oh, they don't want to get sued.
Those are the lawyers. End of the day, it was an unhappy ending, which we've seen before in the past, but this was just so inappropriate. Didn't like it. I hope Devin gets exactly what he deserves, which is nothing.
Yeah.
And goodbye to the Bachelorettes, because I can't watch this anymore. There's no need for this on television. There's no need for this on television.
Yeah, it was it was really in poor taste. I hope that everyone who works on that show can't look at themselves in the mirror. I know I feel almost like I can't look at myself in the mirror after watching the season. I'm done with Bachelorette. I still have hope for the Golden franchise, even though we know that the Golden Bachelor ended with some scandal as well.
Yes.
But we also saw a lot of the contestants on that show forge strong friendships, which filled me with joy and continues to fill me with joy knowing that they're all close. So Golden Bachelorette, I am looking forward to watching. Now it's going to be guys. They're older men. Are mature men more?
I don't know. We're gonna have to find out. Who knows? Who knows?
Yeah, I don't know either. I really hope they don't give Devin much more news time. Like,
I agree.
I'm hoping the focus is on Jenn. Jenn is going to be on Dancing with the Stars.
I think they got so much backlash from this episode. They're like, we have to give her something immediately. So they gave her this. That's what I think happened.
Although I think they normally did. Rachel Recchia, and no, not Rachel. I think it was Gabby was on Dancing with the Stars right after. So I think that's their thing. They try to take one of the stars
possible.
and put them in. Yeah.
It's possible.
So
they're going to be very kind of Jenn now because they did her wrong. So give her everything.
You know what? Jonathan was the guy I liked best, and I think Jonathan would have been a good match for her.
I think you're right. He was also emotionally unavailable. Everyone was emotionally unavailable on this show.
But he could get there. He just needed time.
Yeah, but so did Marcus, allegedly.
Oh.
So it's like, I don't trust any of these men. I think Grant was probably her best option because he was ready to get married and have kids.
Actually, you're right.
His own show. He was the one.
Yeah.
Like they're just like,
yeah.
don't pick him because he's really good. That's what it was.
Yeah.
Like he wants to get married. Let's just get rid of him. It's
Yeah.
like, guys,
That was
no.
so fishy because there was no reason
Yeah.
on God's green earth why she shouldn't have picked him. Like that's where we were heading. Like, and for her
She should've
not to
picked
give him a
him.
rose and to give the rose to Jeremy over him,
It's
it made
shady.
no sense. It was totally produced. It was a totally
She's
scripted.
probably really regretting that now.
Yeah.
Like, man, I could be. And he seems honorable. Like he was ready for marriage.
Well, that's all we got for you. Stay tuned to Romance Recap because we are sticking around to recap Golden Bachelorette. And remember, just because it's ferocious does not mean it's true love.